Hey everybody, welcome to another Staff Connections. I'm your host, Bill Culp, and you know the premise of our show here. It's very simple. Bringing you out there, those in the community, get to know everybody that's working for you. Why? Because you matter. And along with you, they matter. And joining us today, I'm over here at Limerick Elementary. Kristin Williams, how you doing, Kristin?
Good, Bill. How are you?
Oh, good seeing you. All right, this is old hat here.
It
Used
is.
to-
It's nice
used
to have you
work here.
back.
We basically almost started off at the same time. So how long have you been here?
I've been at Springford since '98 and at Limerick since '99 when you started, right?
That's right. Yeah, 99.
Yeah.
All right. We don't look it, do we?
No.
Looks like maybe we started like 2001 or something. Yeah.
Maybe you.
I don't know about that. All right, so let's get into it. Teaching all those years, getting a little bit into your past. It's pretty interesting here. You were a banker, officer banker. What is that?
I was. Well, as I said, I went to law school straight out of college, and when I was in law school, my first support with the Orange County Courthouse in Vermont was with a 9-year-old in shackles, and it was my job to kind of push that child through the system, and I thought getting them as a lawyer was a little bit too late, so I did that phone call home right before I renewed my lease for the second year. Dad said, sure, come home. And I had about 2 weeks to find a job, so banking was it. And I was a loan officer and bank manager while getting my teaching certificate at night.
Pretty neat. I still have the shackle marks. I
Do you?
appreciate you doing all that work.
No, not a problem.
I turned out all right.
Not a problem.
All right, so you quit that job. Why? It was kind of interesting why you quit.
So I had all of my classes finished. I just needed to do my student teaching. And I was sitting listening to my the president of the bank at the time give me my annual review, and I just kept thinking, yeah, this isn't it. So I said, I don't need to work here. And I quit that day and called my husband at the time and told him, and it was a bit of a surprise. He said, you realize you don't have another job? And I said, mm-hmm. And he said, and you realize that we're expecting a child? Yeah, I do. He said, what are you going to do? Student teach. So I did. So I did my student teaching and finished that up. Fortunately, my oldest son waited because I had about a week after student teaching before he arrived on the scene.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you quit. Yeah, you have the first child, so you quit your job. Now, let's say you have the third. Are you going to quit this job? Quitter?
No, I'm not going to
quit
quit this time. No,
You're in
Nope.
it for good. All right.
I'm here for good.
All right, good. So you do other things to just teach, obviously fourth grade. What are some of the things, obviously, you do
We do.
outside for school and things
Well,
like that?
outside for school, obviously, we do the reading nights. We go, this year it was the camping theme for the literacy night for the school. We do the math nights for the school. As part of the school, we've done Girls on the Run. We do a lot of kindness projects, as we call them. We do a lot for community service, raising awareness, getting the children involved in understanding that there's more out there than just themselves, and that
What do you love
people
about
matter.
teaching now?
I love the students. I love the fact that, like you, they keep you on your toes all the time. You never know what's going to expect. It's like the ocean. You can't turn your back to them because you sometimes get knocked down. But, it's fun. It's different every minute, every day. Doesn't matter what you think is going to happen. You have to be prepared for something else.
Neat. All right. You mentioned the ocean. I, saw some interesting facts there. You used to work on the waterfront, sort of, in New Jersey, at like a
did.
fishing dock.
I did. I worked
at a restaurant.
Absolutely. I worked on a fishing dock. I did that for about
What'd you do?
6 years.
Tackle?
I did. I sold bait and tackle, and I pumped gas, and we tied up the boats when they came in for docking. We rented out some boats. Nothing like having to count out the worms, the old-time fishing. People would come in, order a dozen worms. You'd have to count them out.
You met some famous
kilos.
people, or
We
maybe some famous
did.
people?
So that area of New Jersey has a lot of people from New York.
Yeah.
Dr. Ruth lived down there. She would come in. It is home to Bruce Springsteen, so we saw him a lot. At the restaurant that we worked in, he came in, sat at table number 11 all the time, and one night I got to tell him that his fly was down when he came out of the men's room before he headed back into the restaurant with everyone.
That's the boss. You telling the boss?
Well, I wasn't going to let him walk
Yeah.
out there. I had no choice. Clarence Clemens, he was my favorite. Got to meet him.
Neat.
You being a sports guy would like this. Someone came in and to be really nice to that man. He manages the Giants. I thought he meant the Giant food store, and it turned out it was the owner-manager of the Giants football team, which made more sense in New Jersey than
Hopefully they were good tippers.
they. Well, I didn't get tips.
Oh.
I was the hostess with
Oh,
the
you were the
mostest.
hostess
Yeah,
with the mostest.
I just
Oh,
smiled.
That's all right. So at least
Showed
you
them
got
around.
to see them and things like that. All right.
Yeah.
So it's funny you're reading about that work ethic. I was thinking to myself when you kind of explained about your father. Maybe you have that in you because he drove a bus, paying for
Law
through
school.
law school. So do you think maybe that's why like there probably wasn't any odd job that was too odd?
No.
Growing up with your family there.
Absolutely. My family worked very hard, starting with, my grandparents were very hard workers. My father worked a lot of jobs. He actually, in order to win the hand of my mother, had to work down building the docks one year for his future father-in-law. So he was a
boy.
boardwalk builder. But yeah, he drove a school bus to pay through law school. He also did laundry service to get through law school. And he worked for 50 years right here in Pottstown.
Yeah, I saw you grew up in
So-
Pottstown, so you're not that far. You're pretty
No.
local and things like that.
No.
All right, and so you met your husband at a fitness center.
The
You said you were
Pottstown Health Club, yes.
14 years old, or
I was 13. I was
13?
walking down from, actually volunteering at the Pottstown Hospital, and walked by the men's locker room, and someone was getting kicked out for doing cannonballs in the hot tub of the men's locker room.
Cannonballs.
And that was it. That was him. So...
I did can openers. I'm a big cannonball
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. Well,
It's cheesy.
I guess he only had so much room in the
Yeah,
hot
so-
tub. There's, they aren't really
I guess
big
at
in
that
the.
age, it's pretty good. All right, so
It
but
was
it's
there.
enough to impress you, and you were hard, hard sell there. At 22, you didn't go out with him.
Didn't go out with him till I was 22,
Good
so
for
it
you.
took a while. We had a lot of friends. He would come and visit, at college. I'd set him up with my friends at college, the other girls. So
Very nice.
yeah, it's nice though.
Pretty neat. All right, so something else I thought was unique. TV shows. You're into the Ninja Warrior.
American Ninja Warrior, I have to say. Craig Lowe, the comeback ninja, is my guy. Yeah.
You like that
Yeah,
stuff,
I do.
huh?
Well, I like, I
You ever
know.
try it?
No, I have not tried it. Not with my knees. That's not happening. But we did go out to Vegas last summer to watch Logan try to make the finals, or he made the finals from Philadelphia last year. And we went out, big cheering support. I learned a lot about the Ninja Warrior scene that I didn't know, but it was fun to be on the sidelines, meeting all the people that you see on TV.
Oh, my God.
And Logan ran in Baltimore this year, so you have to wait for it to come on.
Is it as hard as it looks?
To see, it's actually harder. I had no idea how huge those obstacles were and how high they were. And they're running them in the middle of the night. I don't know if people realize that.
All right.
So our call time to watch him was at 2 a.m. and he ran at 5 a.m.
At 5 a.m.?
So you're up all night. The Warriors are up all night just getting their chance to run because it
I'd
has to
have-
look good in the dark.
I'd have no problem. At any time. I'm a warrior.
You are.
Thank
You are.
I try. All right, so other interesting, some interesting, you backpack through Europe?
I did. My father said that I should travel, so I went to school for a year overseas, and they give you 4 weeks of spring break. So, I added a week at the beginning and the end. So I did a 6-week stint. It was fun. I got to go to Russia while it was still a communist country, because at that point I was considered an English resident, so I could fly in through that way.
You weren't wearing your Rocky shirt, were you?
I was not wearing my Rocky shirt,
I
no.
was going to say it would have been a little trouble.
It would have been a little trouble, no.
So how was it? Like, what was like some of the experiences? What was something unique from there you got from it?
There were a lot of different experiences. When all you have is your backpack and yourself or one other person, you learn a lot. I got to eat ice cream on the steps of the Kremlin in the snow, which I thought was pretty neat. In Russia at that time, people waited in line for an hour and a half for an ice cream cone, and I said, well, it's got to be good. We'll have to do it. I also learned to pay attention to the calendar. I mistakenly showed up at the Vatican on Holy Monday, not realizing that, with the Pope and Easter, it would be a little crowded. My mother did not appreciate the phone call saying, well, I'm in the train station looking for a place to sleep tonight. Because, no cell phones then. So the only
Yeah.
time my parents heard from me is when I called them.
Neat.
But it's
Yeah.
very interesting.
That's awesome. All right. So I also saw that you do exchange students. You've had some exchange students
We-
over the years. And
We do.
how'd you get into that, and what's that like?
So how I got into it is my younger son was walking across campus one day, and one of the head of schools said, hey, Benjamin, do you think your mom would let someone live with you next year? Yeah, go ahead. So Ben got us our first student, and I got a letter in the mail thanking me for taking in a student. So Matas from Lithuania was our first one, and he lived with us for over a year. He had such a great time. His brother actually sent us a message 2 years later and said, "Hey, can I come and stay with you?" We said, "Sure, come on." We've
nice.
also had a student from Germany for a year. Clemens stayed with us, and then I have my boys that are still in the States going to college now. They were with us through high school,
yeah.
on and off in high school. And I now have Jiho from Korea and Zen from Thailand.
That's awesome.
So it is. And Benjamin went over and visited all of them in their homes last summer.
He's got a free stay, so maybe that's why you do it, for those free vacations.
Well, that was luck. He went to China to study last summer, and I figured why he was there, the countries were a lot closer.
Pretty neat.
So he
Very
went
neat.
and visited them.
That's clutch. Now, you mentioned ice cream. Just one last thing. You know, I saw you and Miss Alba here.
Yes, my
You
partner in
guys
crime.
did something. Talk about that little achievement you did there.
Absolutely. Mrs. Alba is, my right hand here. We've been teaching together for 20 years.
Yeah.
And last summer, she wanted something to do. She said, "I never do anything fun in the summer." And I said, "All right." So we did the ice cream trail, the Pennsylvania
awesome.
Farm to Cone ice cream trail. So we drove all over and ate our ice cream, earned our T-shirt,
That's awesome.
and I think I'll make her do it this year.
That's awesome. All right. So I always end it with this. Last question. Well, I usually end it with this. Whatever years, how many years you have left, looking back, what do you want your former students, your former colleagues, and everybody to say about you? What do you want your legacy to be?
That's a tough question. You didn't ask me that one before.
Yeah.
I think at the Impact Awards we had this year, Michael Saxton nominated me for an Impact Award, and when I was talking to him, I thought it was the nicest compliment. He said that I made him think, that rather than giving him the answers or not challenging him, that I challenged him and made him think of the answers on his own and figure it out. And he said that's what made him independent and ready to head off to college. So
That's
I'll
awesome.
go with that. I like that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks
Hey,
for joining us there,
Bill. Thanks for
Kristin. You're the
coming back.
best. All right, that was no challenge for Kristin here, over here at Limerick. Another great staff connections here. I'm again your host, Bill Culp. Until next time, have a good day.